Hit it. Welcome. Yeah, another edition of the what's this called? The Friday Nooner.
The Friday Nooner, yeah.
Yes, I'm Pete McIntyre, the managing editor of GrepBeat. With me, as always, the GrepBeat Godfather, Joe Colby. Joe, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
It's been minutes.
It has been mere minutes. You might notice that I've got something new in my frame here.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, I can tell you what it is, Pete.
Okay. And I can hear you very well.
Earlier this week, I invested in this fancy Yeti microphone.
Ooh.
And
is that also like the cooler? Isn't that the same? Do they make the same?
Huh?
The Yeti cooler? Is it the same people they make? Oh.
I mean, it might be the same company. It's
throw it in.
A weird diversification strategy. And I also got this thing. And then so I got this little hook thing to make it look cool.
Okay.
And Christina, and she's appreciating the fancy microphone. And I really take that from Christina because I know she's a big gamer. So I don't know what her gaming rig is at home, but I can imagine it's quite elaborate. So thank you, Christina.
So that circle thing, that's not the microphone. That's just like some buffer
I
thing?
learned this circle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminded me, remember when they used to do We Are the World and Live Aid and this is to take the top, I guess, peaks out of my P's and my Q's.
The plosives.
Somehow this does that. It doesn't really make sense to me. I might remove it. It kind of gets in the way. I always thought it was a spit guard when they showed on TV. So when people are singing, no, it's not. It's to take the height out of some of my accentuated syllables, apparently.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't think it wasn't very expensive, but I'm debating whether it looks cool or not.
Okay. Now I'm in there's a slightly different background because in this conference room, we used to just have some sort of rolling tables that I could move around. But now, Colby Ventures, as you know, since you acquired them, now it has like the world's largest table in here. And so I'm literally like sitting kind of astride of this table.
Those tables are very expensive.
Sideways.
So those are custom white oak tables. So maybe if you could show it with your camera so everyone can see.
The giant immovable thing that I can't move and it's like not that flexible.
We should talk about in the process. They're gorgeous and were made locally in Durham by Bull City Design, which actually has a real factory making things custom over. It's kind of by the Counterculture and over by Seeds over on Gilbert Street for those people who know. So,
okay.
Anyway. Jim Roberts, of course, saying some hellos here. He's
loyal viewer.
Not really appreciating our talk about tables and just wants to switch the subject. But that is, he's got a lot of.
He wants to switch it to college basketball. Okay, we're not going to talk about the Florida Gators as a permanent opponent in football of the LSU Tigers. I'm not going to be party to any such conversation.
So we do practice censorship here at the Friday Nooner.
Yes.
It is a non-talkable thing.
Censorship is really only when the government does it. This is just private enterprise deciding on our own what we should talk about.
It's like our mask ordinance. We are just, as a private business, we are deciding to not service that comment. But yet the comment is still there. So I'll take it down.
I can take it down. Okay. You're not the only one who can control these things.
I know we have a decentralized operation here.
Oh, is that almost a segue?
It is a segue.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think that might be the first segue we've ever had.
It could be.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about something that we've spent a lot of time reading up on in the last 27 minutes. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, right? Is that what they are? Yes, NFTs. I was actually cribbing from a story titled WTF is an NFT, which I thought was a fitting, WTF, of course, why the face? I believe that's what Phil Dunphy thought it was in the pilot of Modern Family. But that is not what WTF means. However, what is a non-fungible token? Do you want to take a crack?
I'm going to do a
I can read this.
Poor job of explaining it, but I'm going to pull on my old school teaching skills, because I did get a half a day of teacher training before I had to go teach for 2 years.
Okay.
In the core, Peace Corps, that is.
I taught in college, so I don't know, is that higher up? I taught a college class, but, go on.
So the analogy is this. If you think about Bitcoin is, and debatable, but a form of currency. And it's
cryptocurrency,
yes, with no centralized government, which is why a lot of people like it.
It is not fiat currency, as they say in the crypto world.
Okay.
Backed by a government.
Got it. So, and so a lot of libertarian type people really prefer it. It has a lot of unique attributes. Bitcoin is one of the things that sits on using blockchain technology. And what blockchain is the idea of a shared ledger that everyone can look at, and everyone's looking at the same thing, but it's not really owned by any one person. So
decentralized.
It's useful for being decentralized. So we all get that. And there are a lot of other variants of that. So Bitcoin is in cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency. There are other cryptocurrencies, but they all underneath the covers use blockchain. In fact, we have over in Raleigh, Kaleido, which maybe our guests later on can talk about as a Raleigh promoter. They work a lot with blockchain technology, specifically Ethereum, to allow
Ethereum, I think.
To make a lot of different. What's that?
I think it's Ethereum.
Ethereum. Did I say something wrong?
Ethereum.
Whatever.
That's like Ethereum's cousin, I think.
Okay.
Food Logic also is on blockchain.
Anyways, right? So they're all based on this idea of blockchain as kind of a new way of having a shared ledger, right?
Yes.
So take all that, and it's like, okay, all that's fine and good. Maybe we can apply that to some other things, that concept, not currencies. And so the best analogy I can have is, let's apply that to trademarks. So if you, for example, back in the day, the Bronto icon and logo was trademark. We registered with the US government. So if other industries that in software tech space try to draw a dinosaur in a certain way, they could, we could sue and say, hey, you're trying to confuse the consumer and use our trademark for those reasons. In fact, right when Bronto got purchased by NetSuite by a whole bunch of money, this is when everyone comes out, Sinclair Oil, which if you remember is a gas company from back in the day, it's still around out west. They sent us a letter and said, hey, your Brontosaurus looks like our Brontosaurus.
Yeah, they have a green Brontosaurus.
You need to cease.
Beautiful logo. I enjoyed theirs.
It's like the second best Bronto logo. Okay. Anyways, but it wasn't a valid claim because we were in completely different industries, and it wasn't like one that was ridiculous. So if you take that concept, in order to get a trademark, you have to register with the U.S. government. And so if you have a trademark,
Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO.
Well, if you think of patents and trademarks, copyrights, and all of that stuff, it's kind of a country by country thing.
Yes.
So if you think about, well, geez, how can we not centralize that around the U.S. government? Let's kind of decentralize it, just like Bitcoin. And then also, let's apply this to digital goods. And let's come up with this thing like digital art and memes and all these things, and let's call them non-fungible.
Right. Now, why is it non-fungible?
The non-fungible, so fungible means like interchangeable.
Okay. I might jump in and steal if you get it wrong.
Well, you can, I think it's non-fungible as it compares to a currency like Bitcoin. They're not interchangeable.
Yes, right. So like a dollar is a dollar, or one Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. Whereas a non-fungible token this is just a digital token that I own this piece of digital property, and it's not the same as the same way my Starbucks isn't the same as a coffee from a different place.
That's right. That's right. It's
actually a bad example. But
the underlying value is unique in theory. So anyways, it's all the vogue, and I don't know, the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's been around for a few years.
Yes.
Company, so Union Square Ventures, who is led by Fred Wilson. It's a very famous early stage VC firm in New York City, Union Square. They a few years ago they invested in crypto. It was called Crypto Kitties, and the idea that you could then remember those what were those toys called? Nakamichi toys? What were they called?
Nakatomi Plaza?
Yeah. No, that's from Die Hard. But like the little pets.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
So it's kind of like you could get a digital version of that and take care of this pet, and then somehow you would own it. And they did it through Crypto Kittens, and they kind of started this concept, and that has just kind of continued. So it's an interesting concept. As you know, the startup Idea Block, and that was led by the fellow who actually won our last year.
Sheets.
Yes.
Yeah, we updated some news on them this week. He was a one-man show in the final and still won.
Well, I know he's dabbling. I don't know so much about the non-fungible assets, but tokens, but he's dabbling a lot with how we rethink trademarks and copyrights and stuff like that. So
more on the patent, but yes, protecting IP using some blockchain.
So it's an interesting.
Yes, that is right.
Concept.
Well, lots of people know the name of this.
Yeah. So we obviously, I wasn't much of a
Tamagotchi. Then you took care of it like it was a kid or something, or a pet.
Mine would have died. I don't know. I didn't even get.
I've seen our plants, so yes, I think that's probably accurate.
I have a lad. I was very limited to just having hermit crabs and gerbils. My parents were like no big pets, and I did okay. They didn't all make it. Some were lost.
Okay.
But
I mean, hermit crab was lost.
Yeah, one time, the Halls, the family, Travis and Melinda Hall down the street, they saw one. This is on Braywood Drive in Akron, Ohio. It was like 10 doors down. They saw one of my hermit crabs crossing the street. It's not a busy street. And then they actually knew it was,
Why did it cross the street?
Well, I was playing with them outside.
To get to the other side. Come on. It's too easy.
I was playing them outside and one escaped. And somehow it had gotten quite far. So. All
right. That's quite a miraculous hermit crab. But okay, so this whole, the NFTs seem to have blown up in the last 2 weeks or so. So like Jack Dorsey, Twitter, last week said he's going to sell the digital rights to his first tweet, which was like just setting up my Twitter back when it was just TWTTR. And it went for like $2 million, but that's more like collectible mania than, because you can still see it on Twitter. It's just someone has the bragging rights that they own that digital asset.
Well, every generation gets into collectibles, right? As an adult, as a kid. And as Sarah is kind of giving us a hard time, basically saying what we were talking about earlier, were very digital pets for middle school in the 90s. Pete, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Middle school in the 90s. So she's just bragging as to when she went to middle school, and then it was later than some people.
You know what that is? That is senior shaming. That's
like a humble brag, I think. She probably said way back in the 90s. That's
right. You know, it's always, I have a couple kids, well, really one technically in middle school right now.
Yep. Okay. I thought you forgot how many kids you had, and you're like, a couple.
Well, one's in 5th grade, so that's
I can see one from here. No, I can't. She wasn't.
That's the college one.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yes. Did you have any collectibles when you were in middle school, Pete? Maybe you're a baseball card man.
I had baseball cards, sure. But Scott Wingo just yesterday, Scott 1T Wingo tweeted that he bought. It looks like a digital drawing of the '66 Batmobile. So he has jumped in the NFT craze. Well, it seems he might be the ideal target audience for NFTs. Very tech forward, a lot of fandoms. I'd say. Isn't that fair to say? Right. Expensive.
I looked it up.
Disposable income. Okay.
This is what he bought because I'm gonna buy this from Scott Wingo and take it away from him. And then it says,
but you have to buy it from him because he owns that.
Well, there's 10.
There might be others.
Stock.
Okay. So why don't you
10 in stock? So I'm
why don't you try to buy one of the others then?
Yeah, but then I thought it was non-fungible. I wanted just the one. I don't want one of the 10.
Yeah, but then it's like a limited release. That's what some people are using. If you're like an artist and you may say, okay, you need to buy this and now you get exclusive access to, I mean, really you can just use it, like you say, and just a new way to do similar things. So just before, and this is sort of somewhat related, just before I started at GrepBeat, I worked for about a month on something that in theory was going to be more months, but it wasn't necessarily working out. That they were trying to do an initial coin offering. So an ICO, this was, March, April of 2018. And ICOs were all the rage it ended up only being about 5 or 6 months. So late 2017 and early 2018. And this company, actually, it's a good company, a good idea, but they wanted to do an ICO. And in part, it was like, I understand why you want to do one, because if you recall ICOs, it was basically minting a new cryptocurrency.
Sure.
And you were getting money, but you weren't giving up any ownership. So it was like, yeah, we want to raise, $50 million and give up no money. It's like, and give up no equity. It's like, that does seem like a great deal. It's like, why is it a good deal for the people who would buy it? Like, oh, because some of them are totally fraud and we're actually a real thing. It's like, that's not really a good enough. I don't think I can sell that. And then the market sort of fizzled because some of them were just straight up frauds. But basically, like those kitties, like they went for a lot of money and people were just throwing things. They're like, that sounds really cool. And people say, I need to get into this blockchain thing. And this seems like a good way to do it. I hear these are all the rage, these cryptocurrencies. And it was just like poof. So I think now,
I think fraud takes many faces. And I think that's a little bit timeless. At the same time, I think there's always good, interesting applications underneath the covers.
Yeah, right. I mean, NFTs will exist, but I think this sort of craze that like Taco Bell made some taco GIFs and they sold for like $3,600. They're just like pictures of tacos.
Sometimes it's hard to separate, but I think there's also an opportunity in there. And I think the people are bouncing around trying to figure out the next cool thing with blockchain. And we'll see. There's something there.
But so Food Logic, I think that's how they pronounce themselves, right? They're here. They use blockchain.
Pete, you're the expert in pronunciation.
LOGIQ, but the IQs are both capital. So I don't think you'd be like Food Lodge IQ. That doesn't make any sense. So I think it's Food Logic. Anyway, they are someone that they use blockchain, and actually in a very useful use case, that is, my understanding is you're sort of tracking the food chain from the farm to the store. So say they're like, oh, there's an E. coli breakout. Then it's easier to go back and track it to a particular farm and then this truck. And so you don't have to like recall everything. You can recall a more specific. That actually I think is what.
So I'll tell you what,
fundamentally,
Pete, and then I think we need to kind of.
We need to bring in our guests.
But I'm going to do.
I promised 12:20. We got another minute.
I'm going to like futz around. I'm either going to come up with a GrepBeat coin, Grep coin. You can help think of a name.
Okay.
Or
sounds like you thought of it. But okay.
I'm going to think of a non-fungible token for something. Maybe it's of your face. I don't know. We take a picture of it. We digitalize it. Or a mug.
The GrepBeat mug. Yeah.
The GrepBeat mug. We will take one and do something with it. And then
we'll have an NFT by next week. Oh, one thing, this is in the tech space, but also this week, Netflix said they're going to start sort of cracking down on passwords. And you sent that to me.
I sent it to you.
Assuming, right, but I pay for Netflix.
Sure you do.
I can show you the receipts. Now, why did you assume that I wasn't paying? Just because, for example, I don't pay for Amazon Prime.
You also said you do pay for Netflix, but you don't pay for Hulu. Is that correct?
No, I pay for Hulu. I pay Hulu Live. I pay, and Now Hulu Live's like $80 something.
Oh, I
It
don't
was
do that.
$55 a couple months ago when they really once they really in. There are some things I don't pay for. Say like the journal, but I use yours. I think that's fair.
So,
Okay.
anyways.
All right.
So let's, so Jim's wants to know where his pint glass is. Well, he needs to come get it. So next time
it's very expensive to mail pint glasses, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah, he needs to come.
So you're gonna
He
have
needs to fetch it up in Durham. Hey, let's go transition now to our wonderful guest.
Yes, we have a guest, Bridget Harrington. She's the executive director of Innovate Raleigh. I'm going to add her right now. Hello.
Hey guys. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. You guys, the Grep coin, I'm all about that. Let's do that. Let's make that our triangle NFT, something we can all rally around and make us all millionaires. Yeah.
How much is a sickle?
The galleon, or maybe
the Grep galleon.
What is it? What
we
was
could
it?
Workshop
Harrington? What was the coin? What was like that thing? Like the oh, I forget.
I don't know.
You know,
booty?
Not booty.
Well, that's what
galleon. Was it galleon? Maybe
a treasure. Maybe galleons were a thing.
Anyways, well, Bridget, nice to see you.
Great to see you guys. Thanks for having me. I've been such a fan of you guys for so long. It's so nice to connect.
Okay, that is exciting. So let's tell our listeners a little bit about Bridget, and then we're going to hear more from her. So, all right, if the facts I read about you, and I guess you can confirm or deny some of these. So you came to North Carolina. You went to UNC School of Journalism, the Hussman School of Journalism, which is known. It's now best known as a pipeline for Grep Beat, I think, arguably. Then it said you went to New York, you launched, and then sold your own PR firm. Is that true?
I did.
New York, okay.
Great run.
So what was the story there? What was it called?
Yeah, so we
Grep something.
Yeah, no, so I moved to New York like right after I graduated, and quickly started a company to work. I worked mostly with hospitality and art and more design, art-based things. And so we had an office in New York, an office in LA, and had a really great run. My partner was actually a fellow Chapel Hill alum. And we had a falling out, and so he brought in a partner and bought me out. And what the good news was that that allowed me to put everything in storage and travel around the world for a year. So right before we traveled, I had met my boyfriend, then current husband, on the dance floor in New York, and he happened to be from North Carolina. So so anyway, we put everything in storage, traveled around the world for a year, and while we were traveling, he started working on his startup. Because we decided to be an entrepreneur and the family at once, and then it was his turn. And so he started working on his startup, and he ended up getting some funding from Ev and Biz and some fun people out west. And so when we landed back in the States,
are you dropping Twitter names? Ev and Biz. Look at that. No last names.
And then we're brought us to the
Stone. Is that his name?
Something
right.
Like
and then what's that? Is that like Evan Williams? I'm astonished by this.
I thought we were amongst
like nicknames.
Family,
and so Jack wasn't involved.
Exactly. I thought this was
just Evan Biz, not Jack. Okay. All right.
Okay. So anyway, some really fun people out west, and so we landed out there when we got back in the country, and it was a lot of fun. And then go ahead.
Where all did you go? Where all did you go around the world? What did you kind of?
Yeah, so we did
spend
that
more time in certain places.
We kind of did that kind of dream thing where you start somewhere and then you decide where you're going next. So we started in Greece and traveled around Greece for a couple months, like went from island to island, and then the weather changed and it was time to go to Italy for the fall. So we went to Italy for a little bit, and then I can speak some Japanese. So we went over to Japan for a bit. My husband had never been there. And then I was born in Thailand and he had never been to Thailand. So we went to Thailand and then did Southeast Asian thing, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and then over to India and down to Sri Lanka. And then Bali was our last stop. And we decided, it's either now. We didn't plan on going for a year. We were like, it's now or never. We had a wedding to get back to, and so we packed it up and headed back. but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did
That
it.
sounds great.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, definitely pre-kids. So, yeah, we can do that.
So when did you guys move to Raleigh?
So when we were it's been about 4 years. It was actually right before the last election. We thought that North Carolina was going to turn blue again, and we felt comfortable raising our. I don't want to get into politics, but we just had different thoughts about where the world was going. And my husband's from North Carolina. I never thought I would be back here, but for all the reasons people leave San Francisco, it was time for us to go. So we picked North Carolina, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah, happy we did. So 4 years.
Awesome. What and we're all transplants as well, so that's a familiar story, I think, for folks in the Triangle. So talk about a little bit what you're doing now.
Yeah, so when I landed here, so I took the executive director role of Innovate Raleigh, and actually Sarah Glove is on our board. So hi, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Up there.
She's a winner of Where's Pete, by the way.
She is. She's amazing. I'm the winner, actually, for having her on my board. She's great. So Innovate Raleigh is an organization that was formed almost 10 years ago by Marianne Baldwin, who's our current mayor. And at the time, there wasn't much going on in the Raleigh entrepreneurial ecosystem. There was things going on in Durham and elsewhere. And so she brought together some community leaders from government, from state, business leaders to figure out, okay, well, what's going on here? Where are the gaps? If we can fill those gaps, that would propel the ecosystem forward. And so it's been a really nimble, interesting organization. So right before I joined, the board formed a partnership with the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce and Wake County Economic Development. And so our organization works very closely with those guys. So we do the kind of help out with the entrepreneur innovation, smaller company space, and they do really the larger kind of business recruitment and expansion. But we, obviously there's lots of crossover with all of that. So we work very closely with them, which is great because it provides more impact for our organization, and hopefully we provide more impact for I speak in the royal we because the organization is me and our board. So
you're the only full-time person?
I am. But because of our structure with the economic development and a chamber and stuff, there's a lot of us. But structurally, illegally, I'm the employee. Which feels great, which feels right. It feels like my entrepreneurial days where it's
that is how startups do it, right?
Exactly.
You always have on the webpage, I know early days, really, really early days of Bronto Mail, when it was just me, it was just we, and people say, well, who's the we? I'm like, well, we sounds better than I.
It does.
Let's just not.
Exactly.
Now the summit, that's one of the big things you do in normal times, I guess. So when is the last one that was is that in the fall? When is that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. And that's the way that's always been one of the things that the organization has been known for, because we get to pull together folks from all those different business community, academic, everybody kind of comes together and levels up on what's happening and then figure out, well, what should we do next? Where are the gaps? And so, yeah, the last one we did was in, I guess 2019, right near that election. And we were really talking about kind of sustainability and climate change, and we did it at the train station in Raleigh.
Oh yeah, that's actually a nice setup.
It was nice.
So if I were a startup in Raleigh, what how does it help me?
How do we work? Yeah, so we work really mostly with we're more ecosystem based, right? Like we identify where the gaps are in the ecosystem and then fill those gaps. I work less one-to-one with entrepreneurs. I mean, I do help out, many people come to my inbox and I air traffic control, as we all do. But it's less that formalized. We're not an accelerator, we're not an incubator, but we identify a need for an accelerator, we'll pull together those resources and those different partnerships and then hopefully make something happen. So it's more project-based work and less about what I can do do for you.
Well, I think it'd be great for people, check out your website, particularly if they're in the Raleigh area. I think there's a lot we could do.
But anywhere in the triangle, we're all one.
We're all one. It's all,
Yeah.
we're called Innovate Raleigh, but we're really about the region.
No, definitely. I think lifting up, I mean, a lot of what we do here at GrepBeat is trying to lift up the triangle ecosystem, or is it ecosystem, Pete?
Yeah, I've been wondering that. So is that maybe the formal, more ecosystem? What do you think? Bridget's voted for ecosystem. She's voted with her words.
Echo. Yeah, I don't know. Is that wrong? Have I been saying?
I don't think it's wrong.
Okay.
That's a loaded comment, Pete. Like, I don't think it's wrong if you're comfortable.
If you're happy with it, that's the important thing.
It sounds good to me. I'm more of an eco person, but I'm.
Are you eco-friendly or are you eco-friendly? But it's economics. So maybe if it was more of that.
Eco-friendly, I don't know. I guess I'm inconsistent. I'm all over the place. So
wasn't there an author, Umberto Eco? How would he say? It's true.
So Sarah's chiming in. Obviously, some more things she loves supporting about Innovate Raleigh.
I stopped reading after GrepBeat mug winner. Oh, I'm sorry. There's more. There's a Innovate Raleigh. Oh, support. Okay. Just leadership. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Powerful local history. Lots of great people coming together, make it happen. All right.
And I think what just to tie back, Jim, when I was talking about the currency doubloon, wasn't that like doubloons? What are they called? Doubloons, like the
doubloons. Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
But with an N, not an M.
There we go. Anyways, we're gonna brainstorm what that is.
Yeah, I want to move away from the Godfather type iconography. Either keep it in GrepBeat, or there's a lot to be done with Pete. Like we're gonna do that March Peteness starting next week. We're gonna do our Where's Pete March Madness. It's coming, like it or not. But okay,
great. Everyone's excited. So very good. So we're a little over 12:30.
Yeah, we've blown over. So
guys,
I think
it's so nice to meet you. This is fun. Thanks for including me.
Well,
and I'm going to keep thinking about that. You guys have both great names, Pete and Joe. So Pete Coin, Joe Coin, Pete.
I'm
going to play with it.
Politically savvy, right? You can see how she can negotiate the power centers and the Chamber of Commerce, the current mayor now. So yeah, very impressive.
It's all good. Well, it was a pleasure having you on here, and thank you very much. And then for all you do with Innovate Raleigh, like you said, I think it's just great for the Triangle to kind of help lift up their whole scene.
And the summit, people will be able to be there, right? Fingers crossed?
Fingers crossed.
Yes, okay. Do you have a date? Or do you have
a date?
Okay.
All right. This fall.
Yeah. That's smart, yeah. Can't lock in dates these days.
No. So much uncertainty. Thanks, guys. Well, let us know if there's anything we can do for you guys in Raleigh. I know you guys stay where you're at, but we're here for you. Let's work together.
We're coming to the end, hopefully end of the tunnel of COVID lockdown.
Yes.
So we will all be circulating.
I go to Raleigh all the time, but that's where my family is.
Well, thanks for calling. So.
All right,
Joe, hit the outro. Bye.
Bye-bye.